Can everybody hear me okay? Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, 1 Million Cups Innovation Hub. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. Please have a seat if you can. I'm going to welcome everybody back to the grind. I think everybody has gone through a struggle to try to look at all the reply alls in their inbox, which is probably a nightmare. If you're in the sun, like just this little sun tan, will be good. You'll be the only one getting a tan in January. Welcome back. We're kicking off this new year with media and more. Again, 1 Million Cups is a community of entrepreneurs, small businesses, large businesses, talking about how they got their start, some of the challenges, but more about the story. How many of you are first time joining us for 1 Million Cups today? Raise your hand. Awesome. Please make sure to get some coffee. It's free. It's delicious. It's from Livis Coffee. Thank you to the Innovation Hub for allowing us this space to present and listen to stories. We're going to listen to media and more consulting and talk about how and what they do, but a little bit more about the story, right? Okay. And without further ado, raise your hands and say thank you for coming. Welcome, media.
Thank you. Can y'all hear me? My name is Chuck Spohn. I guess my title is President CEO of Media and More. And I'm glad I get to tell you my story. And hopefully, but coffee is involved because you won't go to sleep on me. But I've been in the Innovation Hub probably less than 10 times. And what really impresses me and gets me excited is the entrepreneurial air that we all breathe in this place. I mean, I think there's a commonality in the kindred spirit that we all share about being entrepreneurs. And as I kind of tell my story, hopefully you'll see various points where, you know, that entrepreneurial spirit is there. And as I had to start at the very beginning and tell you about, you know, where I began as an entrepreneur, and I would say at age 13, I was a paper boy. And, you know, it wasn't just slinging the papers. In the town that I lived, the newspaper, you know, required, it was a 3 o'clock delivery. So I had to come off the ball field at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm playing with my friends. But the responsibility came in the fact that I had to pay the newspaper a bill every week. They charged the paper boy, and he had to collect the money, regardless of people paying you. You weren't paying them directly, you were paying me. So at age 13, to have the responsibility of every week to have a bill and pay that bill was a pretty good lesson. And this is where I think somehow this is genetically woven into my DNA, but you know, some people would stiff me and they leave without paying their $1 a week or $1.50 a week or whatever it was. But my dad was a mailman, and I'd find out where they moved. And so at age 13, 14, 15, I'd get on my bicycle and I'd go knock on their door and say, you know, you owe me $3.50. And they'd be like, who are you? I'm like, I'm your paper boy. You owe me money. So I guess that shows where that all began. Moved my way through college, went to State University of New York. I'm from upstate New York, and got a degree in management and marketing. And after that, decided to move to New York City and take on a life of poverty, and lived pretty meagerly. I worked a white-collar job most of the day, from 9 to 5, and then I bartended in Greenwich Village from pretty much 8 to 2 a.m. every day. Did that for about a couple years. And that really gave me some character, and eventually found my way into the television industry. And I started as a TV research analyst in New York City, working with Nielsen ratings and things like that. Did that for a while and realized the money in television was coming from the sales end of it. And so in 1986, I moved from New York City to Hartford, Connecticut, and took a job as an entry-level sales executive with a TV station. It was an independent TV station that 1 year later became one of the original Fox affiliates. And so, you know, as I kind of look at being an entrepreneur, being the Fox affiliate, and many of you may recall, we were referred to as the coat hanger network back in those days. You may or may not recall that. I do. But we had to fight. I mean, and we had to challenge the other guys in the traditional networks. And again, I kind of look as I kind of prepared these notes, but you know, from the paper boy to the guys fighting as the Fox affiliate. I mean, there's some really great lessons in there. So I worked my way up, worked there, and then took a promotion. The company promoted me to Memphis, Tennessee to be the sales manager in 1990. I did that for about 7 or 8 years, and then they promoted me to Little Rock to be the vice president general manager of Fox 16. I got here again in 1997. Did that again in the fighting mode or the spirit of an entrepreneur. We launched the News at 9 in 2004, and that was just an awesome experience and a great learning experience about everything you can imagine, but mostly, learning how to brand a news property was just such an incredible experience, and again has proven its worth as I moved on and started this company. So, at that point, life was good. I thought, I ran a good station. It was very profitable. The people that owned it, really liked me. I had everything moving in the right direction and felt like, there's my career and I can continue to do this, and that didn't happen. So actually 4 years ago yesterday, I was let go. And the reason I was let go is the station merged with Channel 4. And they bought Fox 16, and now those operations are merged. And my job was cannibalized in that merger. Not to say they didn't offer me an opportunity to move, but my decision to be an employer trumped their move. I wanted to be an employer, not an employee. So at age 51, I was faced with a pretty significant transition in life, not expected by any means. And there were a couple of significant challenges at age 51. And again, being an entrepreneur, and hopefully you're relating to some of these stories. But first and foremost, as a general manager of a TV station that was successful, and I had 15 years of experience, I'll be frank with you, I had a great paycheck. I had a big paycheck. And I had a lifestyle that went along with that paycheck. House, car, lake house, boat. We lived the lifestyle that went along with that paycheck. But when my tenure ended, I got I would consider a slap in the face severance for 23 years of continued service. So, the significant challenge was, how am I going to support my family at age 51 without, anything other than 30 years of TV experience and not wanting to move? So that was one challenge, and the other one was to be relevant. To survive in this world, you got to be relevant. And okay, I've got a lot of experience in a lot of things, but how am I going to be relevant? Kind of a longer story how I started the company, but anyway, it started. And day one, it was not a transition; it was a start. There were no clients and there was no revenue. Day one, so that's kind of a scary thing. But I'll tell you what saved my bacon were two things. And the first was by design, not intentionally, but was relationships. When I got to Little Rock in 97 as a general manager, my strategy was to know every pillar of this community. And I went out actively and met with mayors, governors, senators, bankers, lawyers. Anybody was part of my strategy because I wanted to know them. And that paid a dividend later, but it was not by design, but I did know them. I was involved with several good nonprofits. I was the president of Downtown Partnership, chairman of the Zoological Association, Foundation, whatnot. But so what saved my bacon were the relationships. And that really worked to my benefit. And secondly was, I guess, a God-given reputation that I had done good work here and people could trust me. So initially, Media & More started almost 4 years ago now, and that's where we were. So where I hope you can relate to now more so would be the midstream challenges that a 4-year-old startup company that's in the space that we're in faces, and our challenges are these. I mean, we're in the world of intellectual property. There is not a hard good, there's not a widget, there's not something that you can put your hands on. It's a concept that kind of flies between our ears, and people invest in that looking for a return on investment. Not always the easiest or simplest thing to do. We have to constantly prove ourselves in today's age of analytics. There's a lot of challenges that you have to show a return on investment as compared to the days when I was in television, where you could say, hey, Nielsen said so many people watched it, so it must be good. And That's not the world we're in anymore. There's lots of competition, lots of people out there do what we do, and that is definitely a challenge. And the other challenge is this, and it's going to sound crazy, but for the first, and the company's 4 years old, but for the first 3 years, I could never answer this question. Knew a lot of people, I'd run into them in Kroger and restaurants, athletic facilities, whatever. But people say, hey, how you doing? I'm like, good. You started your company, right? Yeah, so are you having fun? And I mean, I usually don't have a problem speaking, but when that question, are you having fun, was put, I didn't know how to answer it. And it wasn't maybe until the last 6 months or so that I kind of figured out that there really is nothing fun about starting a company. And getting up at 4:30 in the morning and working at 10 o'clock at night, it's fun. So, again, hopefully those of you who are entrepreneurs can relate to the fact that there's nothing fun about what we do. Now, it's exhilarating, it's challenging, it's rewarding, but it ain't fun. So anyway, that's something that we face. So, with these midstream challenges, the intellectual property and constantly having to prove yourself and so on, we made a strategic rebrand of ourselves last year. It's really only been the last several months, and I think it's one of the reasons I'm standing here today. But we decided to rebrand ourselves and niche ourselves as the small business agency. And I'm going to tell you a few reasons why we did that. First and foremost, as you kind of heard through my story, I appreciate being able to tell my story. But, my career was always involved with entrepreneurs at age 13, or whether it was a startup Fox affiliate or starting a newscast. Always there's a level of risk, there's a level of effort involved there, and so on. And especially as a small company right now, as myself, I can definitely empathize with people who are small businesses. Small business, I find, startup companies are very relatable. They don't speak about silos or verticals or core competencies. They speak about their money, their family, how they're going to build an effective company, and they don't speak with jargon that may not be so familiar. Small businesses, I find, we can produce the greatest tangible results for them immediately. Very, very tangible impact. It's appreciated. And the last thing was there was a void in the market. We really didn't, our research found that anybody was here serving the needs specifically of the small businessmen and women. So that's why we took that. So that was strategy number one, rebrand ourselves, position ourselves as a small business agency. The second thing was to surround myself with smart people. A couple of them in the back here, Nick and Cameron are back there, and they work with Media and More. I'm going to tell you how we operate here in a second. But, and I think if you look at them and you look at me, the cool thing about Media and More is, again, I'm now 55 and they're both 30 or younger. And so that there's really kind of a neat balance of the young mindset and the old mindset, and how we can collaborate and help people is really an effective way to look at it. I also yesterday added an analyst to our company who, we live in a data world, and again, being a 55-year-old ex-TV guy, it's not necessarily my bailiwick to be, to understand and interpret that data as maybe someone else could. So we now have an analyst on board who will help us with the data and help people grow their businesses. Getting close to the end here. So Media and More, a couple of things about, so I'll tell you what we provide, and then maybe how you can help, and I'll open up the questions. We're a boutique ad agency. I've heard that term before. I didn't know what it meant, but I have my own definition for it. Boutique is the sense that there's really the three of us as full-time employees, and then we surround ourselves with very very talented freelancers. Think of the world of media today as kind of like the medical field. If you have a general practitioner doctor that you go to, but you break your arm, you're going to go to an orthopedic person specialized in that field. If you poke your eye, you're going to go to an ophthalmologist. And that's really where media is today, that there's so much out there and it's so specialized that we're good at strategy, we're good at creative, and we're good at execution, but we work with people who are very skilled, and all they do is practice what they practice, whether it be SEO or video or web design and whatnot. So we surround ourselves not only internally with good people, but we have vetted out and quality control great freelancers. So And the other thing for small businesses, why that's effective is because it helps keep the cost down and makes us affordable to small businesses. So we're full service. We can do anything any other agency in town can do. As much as we're focused on the small business, I will tell you, we do bigger projects. Right now, we're working on a project with a company called Intel. You might have heard of Intel. We had a video that played next to Dell Video at the Microsoft conference in September. So we do work on the larger side of things, and we won't shy away from those, and we do good work. But again, our focus is going to be on a small business. But again, full service. Anything you need, we can do it. But our biggest deliverable, and it's been proven out through the last 4 years, is our brand messaging strategies. And to me, the center of the universe is your brand. And I've said this, that I think the word marketing is going to go away, and I think the word branding is going to supersede it. It won't be marketing anymore, it's going to be how you're branding your company. We have a process that we've developed where, again, it doesn't matter the size of the company, the age of the company. We've done it with 30-year-old companies. We've done it with, well, we have actually someone in the room that's starting up a company. But we have a process that helps you figure out where you need to be, how you need to be positioned, what your brand promise needs to be, how you should establish your differentiators, your value proposition, your mission statement, your voice for social media. And without that palette, as you go into the field of battle, you need that. And that's something we do. I think we do it very affordably, and we give you good information to work with, and then you can build your marketing strategies off that, whether it be what you put on your website, could be a brochure, could be your business card, could be how you answer your phone. That all comes from your brand messaging strategies, and we do a very good job of helping people with that. And again, we're priced right on that. And past that, we're now developing some curriculum for owners, CEOs, because what I found in my experience with brand messaging strategies, we can hand it to them, but a lot of times they just kind of say, great, this is good, and then they kind of move on. They put it on the website, and they develop some collateral with it, but then how they operate the company and really being the brand manager of their company is essential. Small business owners, large business owners, the CEO needs to be the brand manager and watch over that. And we're working on some curriculum right now that will help them with that. I guess at this point, I'd be happy to answer questions about Media and More or anything else that you find applicable. Sir.
So I heard you talk about like websites and things like that. As an entrepreneur, by not having a website, how bad does that hurt your business?
How bad what?
How bad does that hurt your business? What would you say?
I mean, research has proven that people shop for commodity goods, services. Most likely they're going to look at 3 different businesses, and they're going to look at them first on the internet or at some point in their buying cycle. They're going to look at 3 different companies. If you don't have a presence online in a real estate door for people to open up and look inside your company, you're hurting yourself. You need to have that. And there's different ways of doing it. A website, is a website. You're familiar with that. But, I offer to clients the opportunity to go to a landing page. Less expensive, but still a good quality visual that has information about your company. So if cost is a concern, a website may be beyond your budget. Look at a landing page at the very least to have a presence there, and if anything, have a great visual experience. My guys are probably sick of me saying this, but a website it's like if you open the door to a restaurant and you saw crumbs on the floor, you're going to go in. If you look and you say, this isn't where I want to eat. But that's what your visual does. When someone comes to your website, they open up and they go, what's this company about? And they look at it, wow, okay, I want to take this one step further. I want to see what these people have to offer. You have to have that presence.
So I'm curious about your background in traditional media and television. Obviously, as entrepreneurs, we hear over and over again, web, social media, all this stuff. Tell us about what do we need to know about what's still relevant about television and things like that.
What's relevant about television? Good question. And this is my opinion, okay? And I worked in the day, again, 30 years. So when I started TV, 1986, into television, Saturday afternoon movies, pre-TBS and TNT were a cash cow. We made so much money on those weekend movies, and they had huge ratings. And through the years, just dwindled on down because there were other alternatives. Daytime television, cash cow, and just the ratings just eroded. So the word, one of the words I started with is being relevant. You know, that content, weekend movies, daytime television, is just at this point in time kind of not relevant. Sarah, Nick, and I talk about their media consumption as 20 and 30-year-olds. They don't watch TV. My son's 17. I couldn't tell you the last time he was in front of a television set. So as media, as marketing people, we have to be prepared for that next wave, and new media is where it's at. But in terms of relevant television, I would say there's two places. Live sports, because it's live sports. Who's in here a Giant fan here, by the way? They're playing the Green Bay Packers on Sunday at 4, if in case you're concerned. I'll be watching. Live sports and news to some degree, and maybe some special programming. But even there, the Grammys, the Oscars, things like that, but maybe the news to some older people. Now, the thing that will change Nick and Cameron's lives will be life-changing events, having children. Now, all of a sudden, you're preparing a meal, and you're in the kitchen, and you have the TV on, you might have the 6 o'clock news on. But right now, where they're at as young, single adults, TV is immaterial. So it's still got value. Every platform has value. TV has value. It's just a matter of finding the right places in television to utilize it. Cable has value. Frequency. My wife watches Bravo and HGTV, and for certain clientele that we work with, that may be applicable. Does that help?
So I know you say you're focusing on small business, but how do you define your ideal small business client? Like, how old are they? What kind of size?
They're really, like I said, we deal with large to small. It's just a matter of someone who needs a plan. But there isn't anyone who's too small for us, and there isn't anyone who's too large for us. Although I will say too large, we are not capable of handling Baptist Hospital account, Windstream. That's not in our, but I have clients right now that have national footprints in 43 states. We deal with them, we help them. But again, our core competency is going to be with the small business and helping them. I don't know if that helps or not. Sorry.
No, sorry.
How do you recommend different brands for clients keeping up with the multitude of new social media?
My wife will tell you I'm hard of hearing, so I need you to speak louder. I can't hear you.
How do you recommend your brands for clients keeping up with the multitude of new social media platforms and gathering and following on those different platforms, or recommending which platforms you use for their clients?
Platform recommendation, I'm going to give you the God's honest truth, is contingent upon your budget. Because if you had an endless budget, you'd be in every platform. So really, when we look at it, part of our evaluation is, what can you afford? What's right for your particular clientele? As part of our brand messaging, that really proves itself out that we're going to look at who your competition is, maybe where they're at, why you're different, and then how we can get that message out to people on the right platforms within the budget that you can afford. I strongly encourage a media mix. And with new media, it becomes very affordable, but you just can't put all your eggs in one basket. So you want to have some diversity of getting your name and your company out there, and hopefully that as a global answer helps.
Any more questions? No, all right.
Just get your take on a lot with entrepreneurs. There becomes a struggle of how much time do you spend doing business development and then actually executing the business. And with a lean team like yours, how do you balance that between how much time are you out pounding the pavement, trying to drum up new leads and sales versus, okay, now we have work and we have to execute it very well.
Great question. That is my day. The expression that many entrepreneurs have heard, you're better off working on your business, not in your business. I end up in my business a lot of times, working on creative and things like that, but with Nick, Cameron, and some of the other people, I'm able to move that out. And I think as I continue to, year 4 and 5 and so on, and hire good people, I'm going to be able to release myself of that and work more on the business. versus in the business. All right.
So one of the great things about 1 Million Cups in our community, I think you're familiar, Chuck, is what is the one thing that our 1 Million Cups community can help you with?
I mean, we are all about referrals. You know, as much as we're branding and marketing ourselves, we haven't really done any effort of branding or marketing our company out there. It's all been through referral and reputation. So if you have a need, you know, come talk to us. If you have a friend that has a need, if you need any type of collateral, we're happy to help. But the one thing I would say, if you don't know your brand and you don't know what your brand promise is, and you don't know if your operation can support that brand, you need to talk to us.
Perfect, great. Everybody put your hands together. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you, Chuck. Again, don't hesitate to speak with them afterwards. If you have a question, if you want a referral, please have a conversation with them, help that business out. Again, 1 Million Cups, we gotta say thank you to the Arkansas Innovation Hub for allowing us the space, latest coffee, for that wonderful caffeine that we get when we join each other. The other thing, and thank you for the reminder back in the back, there is a 1 Million Cups app. Please make sure that if you have it on your phone, check in. That'll allow us to keep attendance on what's going on, but best of all, if there is any feedback that you want to share and you think about it, you can send that feedback to Chuck and ourselves about what we're doing or the message that he has in his business, and that's very important. And lastly, if you have social media, please don't hesitate to tweet or Facebook post or something about this conversation today. Next week, we're going to have 2 presenters. Citadel Cybersecurity is in the back, Chris. And if he's going to present his company and his mission for cybersecurity for small and medium businesses. And then Susie in the back is going to be talking about our Spark. What's that?
Delta Spark.
Delta Spark, thank you. It's a virtual accelerator for small and medium businesses or small businesses. She'll be speaking about that program. Anything else before I go? Good to go. All right, thanks everybody and Happy New Year.
Hello.